what responsibilities in your life feel like a burden and what ones feel like a duty. Now, the ones that feel like a duty, you probably don't even second guess, you know? They're things that you want to turn up for, or that you wouldn't second guess turning up for. It's a part of you. It's innate in you to take that responsibility and deal with those things where you're needed to turn up. Maybe that's for family and maybe work and other things. And there's going to be other ones, other situations, other chapters of your life where you feel like the responsibilities are a burden, right? But I was reading a book a couple of years ago, and I think the book was around like Buddhism. I'm sure it was. I actually Googled recently about trying to find what this book was that I read this in, and it actually come up with a different book. So maybe this is spoken about by a few different people, because the book that came up when I Googled it wasn't the one I read. But it broke responsibility down in the ability to respond, right? Responsibility is just the ability to respond. And that's a good frame of mind to be in when it comes to these sorts of things, right? And even the ones that maybe feel like a burden, the times where it feels like a burden, you've got a lot going on. But what's that say? You know, that says that you've got the ability to respond. And you'd rather that, right? That's quite a good thing to be. It's kind of a good thing to have. That means that you're someone that can respond to the circumstances that you find yourself in. You've got the ability to respond. And this sort of takes it out of being a burden or a duty, or more so a gift, that you have got the tools and the skills and the know-how to respond and deal with a certain situation when it's needed. Maybe others rely on you, and that can feel quite heavy, or the pressure's on. But it's a compliment, right? When you break it down like that you've got the ability to respond. You're the one that can handle the situation. No matter if it feels like a burden or a duty, you're the one. And we can shy away at times and strive for having less responsibilities at different periods of our life, and we might gain the benefits from that. And others will be living a life full of responsibility where there's no second guessing it. As I said, you have to do what you've got to do. And that also can be full on and gain and make you feel like you're gaining pressure or putting pressure on yourself, and others are putting pressure on yourself to turn up and solve it. But it's a nice frame of mind to be in. These things, these times where maybe you don't want to, or it's getting a bit hard, or the pressure's on, and you're feeling like, this is it, man. This is my life, you know, having to tend to all these different things. But knowing that you've got the ability to respond, and you're the one that people look to respond and have the answers, is a good thing. It shows the type of person you are. And if you're someone that goes through your life avoiding responsibility and not being that person that can respond to certain situations and be the one that people can turn to help, or to have some answers, or to take some control, take some leadership. And it's that, right? Leadership, these sorts of things where you have to step up and do what you got to do for others, maybe for yourself. By taking responsibility, by accepting I have the ability to respond and I can be that person that can turn up in this situation, makes it feel less of a burden, right? And a duty that you can take on and own and be proud that you're the guy with the skill set. And by not avoiding responsibility and going through life and maybe gaining more and more responsibilities, as I said, can be quite full on. But you're picking up skills. You're the one that's taking this on head on and problem solving. Maybe you can't turn to others and share it, and you've just got to take it all in your own stride, and that can be quite heavy or hard and maybe lonely depending on the situation, when you just need someone to turn to and share that with. And there'll be times for that as well, right? Maybe it's a group taking responsibility. But a lot of the times our individual responsibilities are things we have to do on our own. But through that you gain skills. You tackle things head on and gain life experience that you wouldn't if you were always passing the baton and not wanting to be that person, not wanting to be that guy that people can turn to and rely on. You know, people rely on you. But the more you do it, it's like anything, right? The more you do it, you get better at it. And those hard things become less hard. I've spoke about that as well, about we all know that doing harder things make the other things easy, you know. If you wake up and you do do tackle your problems and you problem solve constantly, you get better at problem solving, you get better under stress, or things don't stress you out like maybe they once would. And that's part of growing up, right? I think when you tackle life and just head on with it, just go straight into it, you don't get thrown off as much. You can keep centered in these high pressure moments, these moments that could be stressful for others. But over years and years, you've gained the tools and the skills and the mindset to be able to respond. Therefore, the ability to respond has become like a default for you, a default place where you're used to it, you've got good at it. And rather than avoiding responsibilities and trying to avoid putting yourself in situations where you've got to problem solve, you recognise time and time again that you've got the ability to overcome it. You've got the ability to respond, and that's a true gift. That's something we can be proud of. And by seeing it this way, I think those that do struggle with it, owning up to responsibility and going head on in it, might feel that, might feel like, no, this is an opportunity here. This is an opportunity for me to break through something. I've got the ability, otherwise I wouldn't have the responsibility. I can respond, overcome, and learn in the process. And that's cool. And this is it. What would you rather? Be the person that never has any responsibilities? Can sound quite freeing, right? You've got less responsibilities. Doesn't have a lot of responsibilities. And sure, that can be a nice place to be. But quite unrealistic unless you go through life completely avoiding being that person. And as I said, there's a lot of growth to happen when you step up and do the things that are required, especially if people are turning to you for you're the one to step up and do it. That's character growth. That's something that we can step into and own and be proud that we're that guy. And it's going to be different for everyone, right? But at least breaking it down like that, responsibility no longer feels like a burden. Maybe it's a duty. Or maybe this is just a gift that you're able to do so. You're able to step up, able to learn along the way and break through these different moments that require us to turn up and to solve a certain situation or to take care of a certain situation. So rather than avoiding responsibilities and accepting that we've got the ability to respond, allows you to use that as a gift and see it as a gift and help others, help yourself by actually tackling the problems, by actually going through with it, and stop avoiding these moments where we can respond with grace and over time with more ease, and the lessons we learn along the way. And again, like many things, it's inevitable, right? You're going to always have responsibilities coming your way unless you do become a master at avoiding them. But not many will be able to. So then it becomes the mindset around responsibility and acting, maybe when you don't quite want to. And that's when you can have the chat with yourself and think, no, this is good, man. This is good. I'm the guy to respond in this situation, and I've got the ability to do so. And it might stretch you, you might have to pull things out of yourself depending on how high stakes that situation is. As I said, when it's a duty, normally it's coming from love and you're not even second guessing it. You wouldn't want it any other way. But there are other things in life. There are other things where they do just feel more of a burden. So in those scenarios, you can recognize that I can do this and I might learn along the way. Or in this certain situation, I'm the person to take care of it. And that makes you more of a leader, That makes you someone people can rely on. That makes you someone that you can rely on yourself. You can rely on yourself because time and time again you've had the ability to respond to a certain situation and handle it with care, or learn through the process of tackling it head on. Responsibility is just the ability to respond, and that's a good way to see it. And it stops responsibilities feeling like burdens, more so opportunities to grow and stand up and step up and tackle and learn along the way. And the more we do that, the more resilient we're going to be as characters, the more adapt we're going to be to what life throws at us. We're going to be able to handle more of what life throws at us through different chapters, because we've been there before, or we've been in situations maybe that were more high stakes, that demand more of us. And responsibility, like anything, becomes easy the more you do it. Becomes a part of you being able to step up and take care of yourself and those around you in situations that need doing, in the mundane, and then in the situations that feel big, they feel important. It can be quite daunting if it lies on your shoulders. And that's where you can take pride in that and be happy and recognise that you're the person to take care of it. And this puts us in a mindset where it feels less scary and more of a challenge, you know, for you to overcome. You'll be better for it, you'll learn for it, you'll learn from it. It's a good thing to keep in mind. The ability to respond is our responsibilities. And sure, you can go through life trying to avoid them and not have many, or you can be the person that owns up to them and grows along the way and becomes a leader and has the characteristics to tackle more things than others. And that's a gift. That's something you can be proud of and take care of, that you're that person that can handle it and respond. Keep this in mind, because when responsibility comes up, a lot of the time it can feel like a burden, or we speak about it like it's a burden rather than a duty coming from love and care and something that we can be proud of.